see this, the Digital Schools Awards European Pilot Programme. So this is our platform. At the moment, Digital Schools Awards are undertaking a pilot, a European pilot with 5 countries. So it's Ireland, Scotland, Slovenia, Lithuania, Serbia. And it's a KA3 funded programme. And we're coming towards the end of this pilot. And the idea behind this is to create a dynamic digital schools community in Europe. And behind that, we want schools to undertake the Selfie tool. Now, I know from speaking to Declan that you're all very familiar with the European Commission's Selfie tool, which is their new self-reflection tool, which they're keen for all schools in Europe to undertake as part of that sort of self-reflection process and as part of that digital action planning process. So the purpose of the Digital Schools Awards European Pilot Programme is to build an ecosystem of supports around schools undertaking Selfie to support schools and hopefully to accelerate the development journey. And we would do that by offering education expert supports. So we work with teachers, digital experts, you know, they come on board our programme and they're there as a critical friend for schools to engage with them, to offer advice, but to also help them connect in and link in with other schools on our programme so that there's collaboration, peer collaboration, but there's also ways in which we can support. So we provide the assistance for schools undertaking Selfie, but in addition to that, what we want to do is give acknowledgement for the efforts that schools undertake and to recognise and award them with the Digital Schools Award. So through this programme, schools would be able to demonstrate the development, they would share evidence and examples of what they're doing, and they would apply for the award and hopefully at the end of it all achieve that award. And in doing this, what we're aiming to do is build a community of digital schools. So there's I think approximately 90 to 100 schools on the pilot, and they're spread across those 5 regions. And there you can see in Ireland, I think we have about 19 schools. The schools in orange have registered, they're on their journey, and the schools there in purple would be the schools that have been awarded. So what we're hoping to do, obviously, is that through building this European Digital Schools programme, that we're starting to connect, you know, digital schools in the same way as you'd be familiar with the active schools or the eco schools, flags. We want to create the same type of recognition for schools that are really driving, you know, digital skills, driving sort of the digital agenda in their school. So as I mentioned, we're coming towards the end of this pilot. This will finish up in March of next year. And one of the concepts while we were building this pilot was, how do we support CPD? How do we support learning opportunities, specifically around Selfie? And so we came up with this concept of the Digital Schools Academy. And that's the reason why we want to have a chat with you today. But I thought this was a good way just to give you a bit of the backdrop in terms of why the Academy, where it came from. And obviously, as Victor goes through the presentation, you'll get sort of an understanding of how this programme will link in with the Academy. So, Victor, I'll stop sharing, and if you want to
start.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hopefully colleagues can see my screen.
Yeah.
As Anna said, we're building the Academy on the first of all on the foundation of Selfie, but also on the foundation of the A-Selfie or the rewards for Selfie. And the idea was that schools have got their rewards, now what? They've become, in many cases, experts. They've become very good, very proficient, and in senses mature in the way that they approach digital learning and teaching. So what then and how can we capitalise on that and spread the word across the countries, and hence the idea of the Academy. You will know, of course, that the Digital Schools Award programme is based on recognition, based on celebration, but it's also based on whole school approaches. So we don't take the individuals or the visionaries or the leaders in the school and reward them as such. We reward the whole school for the endemic and the dissemination of digital learning and teaching throughout the school. And that's been the ethos all along. So that underpins everything that we're going to do. So why is my screen not working? Again, just to remind you, you're very familiar with the whole idea of Selfie. So it's not only across the whole school, but it's across a whole range of digital learning and teaching elements, like collaboration and network, the leadership in the school, CPD, so on. Now, we've added into the Academy the two very, very important themes of remote learning and STEAM, because when we put the proposal to Erasmus Plus through Leargas, when we put that proposal together, there was a very strong element that these two European-wide themes should be prominent in any work that we're doing, and we're very, very happy to include those. So we'll talk about those in more detail in a moment. Before I go into detail on the Academy, just let me say that the people we're sharing with are the University of Maribor in Slovenia, the National Agency for Education in Lithuania, very strong representation and very strong participation indeed from Serbia, from the two organisations that you see, and of course you'll be familiar with H2 Learning, I'm sure, and SWORD Data Systems are looking after the technology and a lot of the technology advice that we receive. So really those are the partners that we're working with, and we are delighted to say that there's a great atmosphere of collaboration and cooperation. There is a bit of knowledge transfer, there is a bit of weakness in the partnership in certain quarters, but we're happy to be building, shall we say, the expertise and the understanding of beginning to work with schools and beginning to build those pedagogies in digital learning and teaching, if you like. We are funded through Leargas by Erasmus Plus, as Anna has said, and we run to March 22. So what,
23.
Sorry, 23. Thank you. What is the Academy? Well, as the title has said, it's an online ecosystem for digital acceleration. Now, what does it compose of? There are two types of schools we hope will, and two major themes in the Academy that we want to exploit. The first is the idea of mentor schools. So these are schools that have completed, not necessarily solely the schools that have completed the A-Selfie, but they will be probably primarily recruited from those schools. We're calling those the mentor schools. They've been through Selfie, they've done the development, they've demonstrated whole school development of digital pedagogies, and we keep saying that idea of digital pedagogy. We want to see digital learning and teaching examples, and we want to see impact in the classroom, if you like. But these schools are digitally mature. You've got a one-to-one schools, excellent examples of how the school has come together, and the student experience throughout the school is that of digital learning and teaching in all the subject areas. Clearly, when we're recruiting these schools, we want them to be able to share. So we're providing incentives. We're telling them that they're part of a European innovative project which can grow, and they're part of that European community, and we can celebrate that, and we can get them, to put that on their website and the way they celebrate their successes. And when they do that, then the online ecosystem should be a repository of searchable resources. So, for example, one school might have very strong leadership, have good strategies. Another school might have good digital CPD. Another school might have focused on the student learning experience, and maybe student voice is very strong in how they develop digital technologies. Another school might be very strong on digital well-being and internet safety and so on. And we're hoping to capture a range of those elements of expertise. We have a template, we have a way of asking them to share those resources so that when other schools come on, they can search and look for and find those resources fairly easy, as you would expect on any website. The other element, of course, which actually I haven't written down here, is the idea that there will be a system of, we're going to call it ranking for now, but it's not really ranking. It's about an element of how popular, how useful, how well embedded can these examples be, and can these resources be, and that again will help other schools coming on to the system to know what their partner schools have been doing. So that's the mentor schools, and we would look to you guys, and we're very interested in the conversation we're going to have to help us identify both mentor schools, but also academy schools. Now, what are the academy schools then? These are schools who essentially are mentee schools. So we're throughout the 5 countries, we're looking for schools that ideally are from perhaps areas of social disadvantage, schools where the digital journey is just about or just having started, or it's getting off the ground, and where there is an obvious need for support. And we firmly believe that the whole ethos of the Academy is teachers talking to teachers, teachers celebrating with other teachers and sharing the challenges, the issues, the do's and the don'ts and the what ifs and so on. So we're asking the Academy schools to come on. Clearly, there has to be some willingness to engage in the digital journey with the mentor school. Everything is focused on and building on the Selfie and the Selfie action planning, rightly so, because all that we do, both in all of our digital schools suite of activities, and I mean, it's growing every year, but all of that is very much policy fed and policy generated. So, you know, in Scotland, it's Curriculum for Excellence, it's the How Good is Our School reflection program and inspection program and so on, and all of that feeds into policy. So we're not asking teachers to stop what they're doing and come out and do the Digital Schools Academy. We're inviting them to come in, and it will help them build both the national, regional and local policy, as well as develop their digital journey as a up and coming digital school. So the Academy schools are, if you like, the mentee schools who will undertake the Selfie action plan if they haven't already done so, and then on that basis they will identify an area of their own need. They will partner with a mentor school and they will either draw down those resources, look at them, try to evaluate and how they can implement them, and in partnership with the mentor school, who will give advice, who will try to share some of the challenges and some of the advantages of the resources that they have provided. They will then have that partnership and have that liaison. And who knows, that partnership and liaison might build and grow. Initially, it's probably going to be country bound, but we're hoping that as the Academy grows, that the partnerships will start to cross the country borders and even expand into other countries. So that's the idea. Again, everything based on and drawing on top of the Selfie planning, so that, you know, the European policy is providing a commonality of language and a commonality of development throughout the EU schools. So what would we expect of an Academy school? When we have identified Academy schools, we've had a conversation with them, we've explained the whole idea of the Academy, and the school has expressed an interest in getting involved and has the capacity to get involved, then we introduce them. They register for the Academy, obviously. Now, we haven't got the website developed. That's happening early in the new year, but we're interested in getting the conversation going. The first thing that happens is they speak to a critical friend. I should explain the whole idea of critical friend. In every aspect of the Digital School Award programme, whether it's in Northern Ireland, Ireland, Scotland, and throughout the European countries, the whole idea of an expert who is willing to offer support and help and advice to the school, that whole critical friend idea has been central in everything that we do, and the schools have been able to draw on that, both in applying for our awards, any of our award programmes, and in looking to the award programme and how to complete it. The critical friend has been, that conversation has been essential, and the feedback that we get from schools, it's very, very valuable. So once they start speaking to the critical friend, they would either undertake the Selfie and develop their action plan on the basis of Selfie, or if they have already done so, then they would show the action plan. When that happens, they identify an area for development and they start to use the Academy research tools for identifying appropriate areas for development. And at that point, they will probably be linking either with the help of the critical friend, or indeed perhaps they find it and they identify with the critical friend, or they identify with the schools themselves. Sorry, I have a 3-year-old running about the room here. Once they start to develop, again, the conversation is ongoing both with the school and the critical friend, and that whole process of adoption and development is begun within the school. So we're hoping that that mentorship and that conversation and that dialogue will help accelerate and identify areas where the school can go and get improvement. And then obviously they can go back and do more if that's the way they want to do that, or they can become they can continue to develop that one area. But we're hoping that once the schools start to do the development, that development will spread within the school. And of course, at some point in that process, we haven't decided yet, they can celebrate their academy status. So really that's broadly what the Academy is about. I'm absolutely sure that has raised more questions perhaps than it answers, but that's it in a nutshell. And we have, just in terms of the Academy schools, I know the mentor schools, we know that there are good mentor schools who will want to get involved because they're innovative, they're active, they're dialoguing schools, and they look for innovation and they look for ways of spreading the gospel, as it were. But where we do need some help from colleagues is identifying schools where there may be elements of social deprivation, where there's perhaps some initial work going in, and where the Academy is ripe for allowing that development to expand and to deepen and to have impact in teaching and learning. And of course, schools that are willing to liaise with the mentor schools. So Anna, that's the slideshow. I don't know if you want to add anything to what I've said.
No, Victor, I think that sort of is a good summary. We are really at the starting point of looking to sort of recruit the Academy schools. As Victor mentioned, we have the schools on the A-Selfie programme who are being awarded in this month and next month, and they'll be ready to sort of share their good practices, and join the mentor programme. I have a feeling, based on what you were saying, Declan, that there's probably some, and many of the schools on this call would fit into that mentor role from some of the discussions you've been talking about. So there may even be opportunity, just to say that obviously with the European pilot programme, our ambition is that we actually scale that European pilot programme nationally in Ireland and in the other countries, and we've already had indications that they want to roll it out. We also want to expand it into other European countries to make it truly European-wide, so that when a school joins the Digital Schools Awards in Europe, they are genuinely becoming part of a growing community of digital schools in Europe, recognised under the badge, and recognised for their work on Selfie. So it's just a bit of backdrop, but from my point of view and from Victor's point of view, what we're hoping to do is that's a bit of scene setting. We'd love to hear from any schools who'd be interested in joining, either as an academy, or if this rolls out nationally, if you'd like to join the programme and become a mentor school, that equally would be hugely beneficial to all of the schools in Ireland and overseas. So if we have some time, we'd love to get some questions and answer if we can, but hopefully that sort of gives you a good sort of idea of what we're about and why we're here today.
Yeah, brilliant, Anna. That has been